Alright, so this is the video for lab 6.1. In 6.1 we work with multiple different types of chemicals and we actually heat it on a Bunsen burner. So we're going to do that individually. We have 7 total chemicals that we want to look at. We always want to keep in mind safety, so you're going to use a test tube holder anytime the test tube is hot. We'll place it in the beaker to let it cool, and after it's cool we'll replace it into the plastic test tube rack. Okay, when we're lighting, you want to make sure your hair is pulled back, you want to make sure that your sleeves are out of the way, and you want to make sure that you have goggles on at all times. Okay, so we're going to start the gas first. Like this. Okay, you want to keep your flame down to about 5 centimeters, so just about there. Okay, anytime you use this, remember that you're careful and you're aware. Keep the valve open just a little, like that. Anytime you're not using it, you want to turn the gas off. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to set up my test tubes, and then I'll turn the flame back on so we can heat it. Okay, so our first one that we're going to work with will be potassium permanganate. Okay. So we're just going to place 1 scoop into here. You're also going to work with zinc oxide. We're going to work with ammonium chloride. We're going to work with sulfur. Copper carbonate. Sodium chloride, also known as salt. And lastly, we have copper sulfate. And I'll go through the names again as we continue. Alright, so let's get our gas back on so we can get started. Okay, so the first one we're going to work with is potassium permanganate. We're going to hold this with the test tube holder, and we're going to heat this evenly, facing away from you. And we want to, let's take a look first. Okay, at first glance, it's black, it's a powder. Okay. Now as we heat, we want to keep an eye on what kinds of things are going on. And as we're heating, we move left and right, slowly over to get even heating. Keep it at a 45-degree angle facing the wall or away from all people. Okay, right now there's a little bit of crackling. Okay, I can see a little bit of bubbling in there. As you can see that it's starting to get dark all around the bottom. And it's slowly working its way up the tube and creating a whitish gray smoke. Okay, so we heat this for 1 to 2 minutes. And we see our observations. You can see the tube is now dark. As it goes up, there's smoke coming out the top. Okay, so we place this in here to cool, and then we'll go to our next one. So our next one is going to be zinc oxide. So zinc oxide, we're going to heat this again. So right now it's a white powder. Okay. Thin white powder, it's kind of in little lumps like powdered sugar. Now we heat. As I'm heating, I'm not seeing a whole lot going on inside of the tube. It's getting a little bit darker, turning a little grayish, okay, and a little yellowish. If we take a look, you can see that it's changed a little bit of color. It's turned a little bit of yellow. Still powder form, clumping together a little more. Leave this here to cool. Now our next one is ammonium chloride. Ammonium chloride is a white powder. Looks a little bit like salt or detergent. As I heat this, I can see some smoke rising just above. Now it's coming out of the top of the tube. You always want to be careful not to breathe these vapors in. You can see it coming out of the top. Okay, the vapor is sticking to the sides of the test tube. And the powder is turning a little bit gray as it vaporizes. Oops, you can see that. And it's colored the tube as well. So put that there to cool. And the next one we're going to do is sulfur. Sulfur is a white or a yellow powder. So you can see it. It's yellowish, it's kind of chunky. Heat this one. Okay, first thing I see is condensation inside the tube. The sulfur is starting to liquefy and boil. You can hear it a little. It's turning a little bit orangish as the liquid melts. Vapor coming out. You can see it turning orangish and vaporizing. As I continue to heat, the liquid's turning red. The yellow powder is completely disintegrated, turned into a reddish liquid. And it's vaporizing. Put that in there to cool. Okay, next is the copper carbonate. Okay, side note, the sulfur also has a very pungent smell similar to volcano vents or rotten egg smell. Okay. The next one is copper carbonate. It's kind of a powdered green color, looks almost like comet. Okay. Now as we heat, I can see the powder turning black along the edges where the flame is. You can see it on the side there. A little bit of condensation on the top of the tube. And the sides are continuing to blacken. The green spot is slowly disappearing. You can see it turning black. Okay, now this one is turned into a black liquid. Completely liquefied. Take this out to cool. Now the next one is sodium chloride, also known as table salt. So you know what table salt looks like, white granules. You can see. I'll heat this one. As I heat this, I'm not seeing what's going on. So as you heat the salt, it remains in the same form. A little bit of a crackle sound. And overall, no reaction. Put that into cool. Last one is copper sulfate. Copper sulfate is a blue crystal. There's a bunch of crystals in there. Now as we heat, I can hear it sizzling a little. Condensation occurring inside the tube. Crystals are turning a little white, so you can see it. A little white blue in the middle. Continue to heat. Sizzling still, condensation, turning more white around the edges. Into a solid at the bottom, it doesn't move. Okay, so I'm going to put that in there to cool and turn off our gas. I'm going to place these back in order. Alright, so we want to take a look at our original ones while those two cool. So the potassium permanganate, after cooling, still looks like a black powder. Okay, doesn't look any different than original. Our second one was the zinc oxide. Looks like a white powder, very similar to the original. The next one was the ammonium chloride. It turned into white powder. Some of it's a little stuck to the bottom there, doesn't want to turn off. Okay, and it created this cloudy milk look on the outside of the test tube. Next one was the sulfur. Okay, now that it's dried, it's turned yellow again and it's crusted to the bottom of the tube. Next one was the copper carbonate, I believe, the green one. This one has turned into a black powder. Then you have the sodium chloride salt, so after heating looks the same. Then the last one was the copper sulfate, which has become crystal at the bottom. It's stuck there and doesn't want to come off. So that's lab 6. You can make your observations before, during, and after.